So tell you a little bit about Cody and how I got involved. Back in 1987, I took Jim Fenera's class at Cabrillo College on anthropology in the future. And that spring, there was the Contact Conference, as there had been for several years before, and it was the first year that it was open participation. So I and a number of Jim's students went, and I got to take part in what was a completely exhilarating, enjoyable game. It was actually a bit of trauma. We had two teams. I think we had 100 people playing, broken up into two groups, and I was on the human team, and the aliens were coming to Earth that year, and it was a disaster from the word go. We had a person with an overwhelming personality leap to center stage, seize control of the whole thing, and progressively rule out any ideas, any possibilities that weren't acceptable to their very narrow approach on how humanity should react to alien contact. And as people grew more sourpussed and wandered off and looked dejected and what did I waste my time coming for, I was seized by this brilliant idea: hey, they're in charge. That means all the rest of us have got the freedom to be everyone else on Earth. And that's what turned things around. We jumped to, we had people role-playing possibilities and factions and human approaches that were not from the straight and narrow, from the top down, from the establishment point of view. We ended up with one Israeli fellow became a Palestinian terrorist. I became the Pope of a North American independent church. We had a guy who was a cultist modeled on the Rajneeshis. We had various factions. We had Albanian communists beaming messages to the aliens that we're the only true socialist on Earth. The rest of the hegemonists are sellouts, and on and on. And it broke the whole thing wide open. And we had enormous fun. We had a raid of the insurrectionists against the sellouts who were selling off to the aliens, in our rhetoric, of course. We came into the contact room in the middle of the night and hung up our inflammatory posters on the wall. And the people who were running it at the time, who were, I remember Barbara Jones, who's an anthropologist, Diana Paxson, the author, Mary Mason out of Fandom, had the great wisdom, I think, and latitude to let us play. Because what we were doing was really contributing to a much more, I think, realistic contact possibility, which is divisiveness, factions, intrigue, all the stuff that really is extremely human. And I do really believe that a key to human adaptation is enough monkeys try enough things, one of them survives, it works, you've got the possibility of a paradigm shift. And that's what we ended up, not really conscious of what we're doing, except that we were desperate to make what we were doing fun. Ultimately, I think we ended up having a, obviously not realistic, but a plausible human response, namely cacophony.